Hit record. Yes. So, welcome to the workshop. We are going to begin with the first round of meditation. Like every week, the first round is focused more on cultivating acceptance and concentration. And the second round will be more towards not developing any ability or skill, but taking a step outside of the mind. So, which has no, yeah, so it's hard to describe that second piece. But yeah, that's how I framed it. And let's begin with the first round of our mindfulness exercise. Before we do that, anyone has any question? Okay, sounds good. So take a position that's most comfortable for you. You can close your eyes if that helps you concentrate. And then make sure your back is straight so the energies can flow more freely. And then take all your attention, take all your focus, and place it on your breathing sensations. Take a long breath in, hold for a second, and breathe out. Another breath in, hold for a second, and breathe out. One more breath in, hold, and breathe out. Now let the breathing go to its regular pace. No need to hold it. No need to control it. No need to modify it in any way. Just let it be. Let the breathing happen as it happens. But be with the experience of breath. Be fully present. Be aware of it. Notice how the air goes in and certain changes occur in your body sensations. Notice where you feel the sensations most strongly and simply be there. Can be either your nostril, in your lungs, stomach. Where do you feel the breath sensations? Just be there. In case the attention goes to another part of the body, or it goes to some sound in the environment, or thoughts of past or future, that's completely okay. We are not going to judge our mind, not going to be hard on it, not going to apply any force onto it. The moment you realize the mind had wandered away, the attention went to some other object, that is the moment you receive an opportunity to show compassion, to be fully accepting of this mind wandering. So use that compassion that is you, that is in you, towards the mind and bring it back to the breathing. Each time it goes somewhere else. It's okay if mind wanders away to thinking, to planning, to reliving something in the past. We know that's what the mind likes to do, and it's completely okay. The moment you realize that is happening, with compassion, pick it up and place it on the breathing. There is a huge difference in bringing your attention forcefully onto the breathing sensation and bringing it compassionately towards the breathing. If you notice thoughts that are difficult or unpleasant during this exercise, that's completely okay. Let the thoughts know that I value you, I hear you, but I am going to go back to the breathing sensation. If the mind is somewhere else, come back. Be with your breathing. Each moment of coming back strengthens your meditation practice. There's no problem how many times the mind goes away. It's completely okay. That is part of the practice. That is what gives you the opportunity to come back. And it is the coming back that we are practicing. So, congratulate yourself. If the mind goes away, that is an opportunity to come back, an opportunity to show compassion. The more you use this compassion, the more you have it, the more it starts pervading in all the life dimensions. Wherever you go, it is going to be there with you. Each time we come back to the breathing, our mind gets sharper and sharper. The mind attains single minded focus, an ability to be completely concentrated on one thing. You'll gradually notice that you are staying at the same point, or you are staying with the breathing longer and longer. A couple of seconds will gradually become 5 or 10 seconds. And within no time, half a minute to 2 minutes, you can stay on to your breathing. the more you come back with compassion and acceptance, the more natural these become as your response. We are every second reprogramming the mind, who has a tendency to respond with harsh reactions of frustration. Slowly and slowly gets reprogrammed with a response of compassion and acceptance. So keep coming back to your breathing and keep cultivating concentration and acceptance attitude. Let's take a long breath in together and breathe out. You can open your eyes and you can come back to the room. Okay, so thank you for meditating with me. I would like to hear your experience of this practice, any questions or concerns that came up while we were meditating. I can start by sharing my experience, and then I would like to hear from others. So I think for me, it was like very, I felt really grounded. And at the beginning, I did open my eyes to check if the waiting room is not locked or anything. So I did notice my mind going to, I don't know, not breathing. And then I noticed my mind going into yesterday. I purchased new roller skates and I had a great day. It was after many years I did that. So I think that memory came back. But then I was also noticing how I'm saying very new things in my guided meditation, which it just changes every time. So I was noticing, oh, I say at the beginning I say more repetitive things. Later I just start saying random things. It just changes and it amazes me. And then I did feel very attuned, and I think it felt similar to how I feel in Vipassana retreats when you meditate for 10 days, 10 hours a day. So you're just sitting there non-stop. So that's a really high level of concentration because there's nothing else going on in life. So I felt, oh, how am I able to stay on the breathing for so long? So I was, yeah, very pleased with the practice, which is rare, to be honest. It doesn't happen this way at home. But yeah, that was sort of like my experience. How about others?
Well, for me, Mahit, I was glad to be able to meditate today because I actually did not start my day out today meditating. I got up a little later than I normally do. I kind of slept in because I got the second vaccine yesterday.
Mm,
But so I was glad to be able to meditate. So it felt good, first of all. But I was really appreciative of the constant reminder not to be judgmental when the mind started to, because I'm on my second cup of coffee already. So my mind is like going back and forth to everything, like you said, that happened yesterday, what I need to do today. But the reminder was a nice, just a nice, compassionate reminder not to be judgmental about, oh man, I'm thinking about stuff, let me come back to the breath. So it actually, I really do appreciate that part of it, because I feel like it is going to remind me throughout the day to be compassionate if I like get short with somebody, or get upset about something, to just be compassionate and to be glad that I remember to come back to, center. So it really felt good. Thank you.
Hmm. Thank you so much for sharing. That feels very nice to hear that it was helpful. And then I like how you are already know how you're going to apply it in the rest of your day. So yeah, thank you for sharing. How about others?
I think for myself,
I've had, I guess.
Oh,
can I go first?
Can you guys hear me?
yes. Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can. Can you hear
I
us?
can't hear you. It's weird.
Oh no. As in, I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, it's back.
Okay.
So, yeah, I found my thoughts like going back to what I have to do after this. I have an interview coming up, so I was thinking about that, and then just thinking about yesterday, how yesterday I was feeling frustrated with a lot of things, and if only I had meditated, like that frustration would have probably been not there, or I would probably show more acceptance or compassion to myself. So I really liked in today's class when you said you should congratulate yourself when you find your thoughts kind of deviating and you are bringing it back, because that kind of shows that that's normal. Like that's something which generally just happens and we can't do anything about that. So just finding that, I guess, compassion within ourselves is something I really liked.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, and good luck with the interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm glad that. Congrats. I have never said that before, but so I'm glad it spontaneously came in and it was helpful. Yes. I think Sadia, you were sharing earlier.
Yeah, mine's actually quite similar to, is it Ashmita? Is that how you pronounce your name?
More of Asmita.
Okay, sorry. So mine's very similar. I felt quite grounded, and then I got caught in a lot of like I noticed that I identify myself as a thinker, so I enjoy thinking about things and making things up in my head, and I was really happy in those thoughts, and and I was a bit feeling guilty. I was like, you need to get out of this and come back to the meditation, and I didn't until you said congratulate yourself, and there was a part of me that let go of that conversation I was in. That hasn't even happened yet. It's a future-based thing that I've made up. And I came back in and I noticed the feeling in my heart area, like, the need. Do you know when you have like an urge or a need, like whether it's eating or there's something that's really, really powerful that's going on and you have to do it? I noticed it in my heart area after I kind of moved away from it. The need to come back to it was a bit hard, but I stuck at it and I kind of come back to the meditation. So yeah, I find that's something I struggle with quite a lot because I have a mind that's quite like creative and like gets lost in thinking about things that are not even happening. Or so that was helpful. I think that kind of maybe the language sometimes can be an anchor. It kind of brings you in. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's like really exciting for me to hear everyone's feedback or like experience. And yeah, I know the language sometimes really hits you. I remember I was using somebody else's meditation and they said, give yourself permission to like, oh, I can also give myself permission. This is like very early stages, but then that hit home for me. And then I remember many times, I think the opportunity piece, like when you are coming distracted, it's an opportunity to come back. I think that I've heard somewhere, I don't even remember when, but it also hit home for me. Yeah, it's an opportunity, and I'm judging myself even more, and I'm being hard on myself. But that's an opportunity. I can just use it to come back. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear your experience, and then it also like reminds me of my experiences. So thank you for sharing. What about others?
I joined in like in the middle of the meditation, so mine is a little bit different because I was trying to catch up with the meditation. So I think so I wasn't more focusing on trying to be present. It was more of like, okay, let's do this. So I think I took it as a, I don't know, trying to get it, be on the same level. So I think maybe I did it backwards.
Okay, but I think you joined us right in like for after beginning 15 to 20 seconds. So I think you attended most of the meditation. So don't worry. Yes. And again, no level. If your mind tells you to get to a level, there's no level. Okay. and and Shashi, if you wanna share, that's okay. And if you wanna pass, that's okay too. I know you joined a little late.
Yes, I have just joined, so I'm
Mhm.
confused like what ocean you have asked.
Yeah. Or we were just checking how people's experience was after meditation, but it's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Uh,
So yes, I don't have the exact answer for this,
mhm.
but I have some questions. So can I ask for this related to meditation?
Sure.
Yeah. So since last few days back, some many things is going on in my life, like related to work, related to personal life stuff. So as you like, as we are like already discussed, so we have to do meditation daily for this, like, and I have already started, but still like nowadays, like I'm unable to focus. I can focus only 4 to 5 minute, and then after like before that I was able to do 15 minutes of meditation, but nowadays I'm unable to focus on. After 5 minutes I goes into that situation like where I stuck, and like so many things is mine, and it's very typical, and I lost my concentration. Like sometimes it's very hard, so I just stop all these things and just focus on work. So because of work, I have a pressure because of something, some work pressure. So I just forget for that time only. So I
Mm.
stop meditation in these days because I am unable to do, and not easy. Like even I cannot listen the like other motivational videos. Before that I do daily, but
Mhm.
nowadays is like I just wanted to stop my phone and just wanted to focus on work. So just wanted to know
Mm.
what should we do for like so many things is going on.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for asking. And yeah, it does sound hard, and uh, taking out time while we are busy with classwork or employment or other things is anyways hard. But then the first thing is, don't be hard on yourself. Don't uh, try not to be frustrated at yourself. And it's okay if it's not happening. You have done it in past for a long time. Right now things are difficult and it's not happening. That's fine. So firstly, be compassionate to yourself. And then the second thing is, it's it's fine if you just do 5 minutes too. Whatever is possible, that's enough. There is no rigid limit that I should meditate 15 minutes every day. Of course, that's a good goal to have, but meeting it or not meeting it does not, mm, don't judge yourself for that. That's second. And then in work
Okay.
also, when you are we are sitting here and enhancing, trying to cultivate acceptance and concentration by using breathing as the object of attention. This can be done in any other activity. So even if you are working, writing something, whenever mind gets distracted, like I can give my example. I'm writing my dissertation. I start opening Facebook and start checking my Instagram. So my mind goes to these things. But when I
Yes.
notice it and I stay on my writing for as long as I can, and I notice the distraction, and then I acknowledge it and bring my attention back onto writing. So you can apply this onto your work if you are making food. I do this with cooking too, or whichever activity you're doing, it can become meditative. I know it will be hard for things for certain kind of work, but for simple tasks like while you're cooking or walking or I don't know, doing paint like artwork. So for other things, it can work out. Does that make sense?
Yes, Bhaiya. Yes, yes.
Sure.
Exactly.
Okay. But yeah, good luck and keep trying. And it's okay
Yes.
if it doesn't work the way you expect it to be. That's life.
Yes. Yes, thank you. And due
Huh.
to like actually the main thing is that due to this COVID, since one or almost more than 1 year, we are at home only and working from home only in four walls. So like it's very tough to be passionate, and like sometimes I'm losing patience also on people.
Hmm.
So it's very hard because we don't have exposure to go out and
Yeah.
meeting people only on phone, and many times we get this like how to say, like many times like we have a meetings and these phone calls, and so it's very irritating sometimes.
Hmm. Yes, I
So
feel
it's
you. And I,
very, it's
yeah.
not easy to stay motivated and passionate in this situation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I Is it okay if I ask others if they have something to share? Is it okay if I ask other people, Shashi?
Yeah, sure,
Sure.
sure, sure, sure.
Sure. So of course I said few things. Anyone else feels like saying something to this?
I do have something to say from Sashi's point. That's a good point that she has there because I have noticed that we recently, when I say recently, 3 years ago, moved down to Houston, but we moved from the Washington, D.C. area where I had a bigger house and I had land and trees everywhere. So it was so easy to get quiet and meditate. In the environment where I was living. Now in Houston, I'm more in a city. My work has picked up, and I found that it's much harder for me to get into the states that I used to get into. And at one time, I was harder on myself about that. Like, is something going wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Because I can't. But I do see that we like go through cycles. And I think the fact that Sashi notices that that she's being pulled in other directions is part of the meditation, like how we come back to it. Like I'm noticing I'm pulled in all these different directions. And I think Mahit made a very good point when he said, so you're busy, then you focus on that thing that you're doing. Like you're remembering, okay, I'm busy working, I'm really busy working, so I'm not going to be sitting down in my chair like quiet with my fingers like this or whatever, but I am going to be focused on what it is I'm doing, focused on my coworkers who need my attention, or whatever I'm doing in that moment, just trying to keep my awareness with whoever needs me in that moment, or even just needing myself in that moment, whether you said like it's cooking or whatever. So we are going to go through these cycles of being busy, not so busy, but I think it's okay as long as we are bringing ourselves back. Like Mahip said, I'm supposed to be doing my dissertation, but I'm checking Instagram, I'm checking Facebook, I brought myself back to the dissertation, back to the writing. I think it's a really good point that it doesn't have to just be sitting down doing a guided meditation. It's just about being with life in the moment, whatever it is, even if it's a busy point in life. So I think it's a good point to be talking about right now. So thank you both for that.
Sure. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I'm so glad to have such rich experience in this class. Anyone else has any comments or questions?
Something I would say is like it's gonna resonate with what you guys have already said, but something which I thought was we always feel this pressure to like engage in meditation or do this particular thing which would, lead us to this place of joy. But like, what if we just take a day off and like engage in self-care, just go out for a walk and like things like that can also be meditative and like the outcome in a sense, like we are getting that joy from just walking or we are getting that joy from just going to a park and just sitting there in the sun. So I guess the outcome is the same. So if not meditation, then what are some things you could do to get to that outcome? So I guess we always link that cause and outcome together and we want to do something to get that outcome, but there's so many ways to reach that outcome too. And when your mind is in that organic state and you feel meditating again, then you could again do that. So I guess that's my 2 cents on that.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. And I totally agree. Anything else that's coming up for anyone before we move on? Okay. So I want to use what Asmita said to our second activity. So one thing that I heard was we feel this pressure to meditate, and then because there's a cultural idea going on, at least in my experience, that if you meditate, you will become happy. Then you will experience joy after meditation. And then the same cultural idea is associated with almost everything. If I get this job, I'll be happy. If I buy this car, I'll be happy. If I'm in a relationship like that, I'll be happy. So we are always seeking. There's always a condition after which you will become happy or find peace. And then I know the first part of our workshop, we do practice really hardcore concentration and mindfulness meditation. And we use these skills and habits, we cultivate them with a goal, with a very clear-minded goal of having acceptance attitude, having high concentration, and feeling mindful. So of course, there are goals in that, yes. But as we transition into the second part of the workshop, I like to break out of all the goals, because as long as we have goals, the mind stays into the future. The mind looks for something in the future. And I acknowledge mindfulness practice is so goal oriented. Of course, that first piece, basic mindfulness, is super goal oriented. But the second one, which is mostly known by non-dual awareness meditation, or which is coming from Advaita Vedanta, it's like one of the Hindu philosophies. And Advaita literally means non-dual. So non-dual means not two. So indirectly, everything is one. So whenever there are two things, one will lead to the other. Or non-duality mostly is described as there is we operate in the world in subject and object relationship. Like I am the experiencer and I'm experiencing something. Like I am eating fruit, so the fruit is the object. I am the subject who is going to consume it and experience it. So there's always a relationship going on. Non-duality is absence of any relationship, absence of the two. And that helps us to get out of those dualistic thought processes of, if I do this, I will get that. Or I am looking for, most common religious Longings are to find God or to be one with the divine. So non-duality says you're already divine. You're already perfect. It's already here. Our mind clouds our perception to see that. So we so that is why we use certain text or sometimes poetry or things that are mind-blowing, that confuse the mind, and we end up sort of surrendering, trying to comprehend, trying to understand, trying to make sense of the things that are beyond the mind's usual comprehension or understanding. So that is what we are going to get into now. Any questions before we open a text? Okay. So everyone can see my screen? Okay. So this is from one of the books that I have shared on the slides. I think I've used this book before. It's called I Am That. And it's full of conversations between the Q is questioner and M is Maharaj. So you can see it's like a student and a teacher. Maharaj conversation would be like a master. And let's see. So I'm going to read from here and then also try maybe talk about a few things, and then I want to really hear whatever comes up for you. And if something comes up, interrupt me and ask me to stop reading, and we can talk about it right away. Okay, so I'm going to start reading from here. Mere knowledge is not enough. The knower must be known. The Pandits and the yogis may know many things, but of what use is mere knowledge when the self is not known? It will be certainly misused. Without the knowledge of the knower, there can be no peace. So I'll try to break down few terms because I think some terms can be confusing here. Mere knowledge is not enough. The knower must be known. So like I was saying earlier, the subject object relationship. So there is one who is known, knowing, and the other thing is the object is being known. So, but who is the knower of all the knowledge? That is what is being asked. And then Pandits is used for people who are scholars or professors. That's like a Sanskrit term. And yogis, just people who practice yoga. So these people can know many things. But what uses mere knowledge? Here, mere knowledge is used for informational knowledge. Like I can read a lot of books. I can gain a lot of knowledge, which is informational. But of what use is mere knowledge when the self is not known? So self here is being used for the real self, or the one who's the knower of things. And now this is because this is Vedanta. It is self here is different from what we hear in Buddhist philosophy. From Buddhist perspective, there is no permanent self. So they don't talk about any permanent self, any knower. But so that is one difference. Is it confusing or is it making sense so far? Okay. So I'll continue to read. So now the question is asking, how does one come to know the knower? Maharaj, I can only tell you what I know from my own experience. When I met my guru is the teacher, he told me, you are not what you take yourself to be. Find out what you are. Watch the sense I am. Find your real self. I obeyed him because I trusted him. I did as he told me. All my spare time I would spend looking at myself in silence. and what a difference it made, and how soon. It took me only 3 years to realize my true nature. My guru died soon after I met him, but it made no difference. I remembered what he told me and persevered. The fruit of it is here with me. Questioner, what is it? I know myself as I am in reality. I am neither the body, nor the mind, nor the mental faculties. I am beyond all these. Are you just nothing? Come on, be reasonable. Of course, I am most tangibly. Only I am not what you may think me to be. This tells you all. It tells me nothing. Because it cannot be told. You must gain your own experience. You are accustomed to deal with things, physical and mental. I am not a thing, nor are you. We are neither matter nor energy, neither body nor mind. Once you have a glimpse of your own being, you will not find me difficult to understand. How are we doing so far? Any questions or comments coming up? Okay, I'll continue. We believe in so many things on hearsay. We believe in distant lands and people, in heavens and hells, gods and goddesses, because we were told. Similarly, we were told about ourselves, our parents, name, position, duties, and so on. We never cared to verify. The way to truth lies through the destruction of the false. To destroy the false, you must question your most invertebrate beliefs. Of these, the idea that you are the body is the worst. With the body comes the world. With the world, God, who is supposed to have created the world, and thus it starts. Fear, religions, prayers, sacrifices, all sorts of systems, all to protect and support the child man frightened out of his wits by monsters of his own making. Realize that what you are cannot be born nor die, and with the fear gone, all suffering ends. Any comments on this?
I have a small comment, Mahit.
Or yes.
It feels very poetic. I'll say that. One thing that always gets me about these type of all the spiritual books and spiritual teachings is that we're always told we're not, the energy, the mind, or whatever, but we're never actually given insight into what the self truly is. Like from any of these teachers, like we're told to look for what we are, but we're never ever told. So that when you touch something that you think could be the self, how do you know that that's really it, or whether it's just another thing that you think you are and you're not?
Such an amazing question or comment. Okay, okay. Of course, I have so many urges to answer, but I will choose to ask you again. If someone comes to you, what would you say to them? If someone asks you this question, what would you say?
About who I am, what I am.
Yeah.
I would be poetic as well. I'd just be like, I'm nothing, I'm all things.
Yeah.
But still, it doesn't tell me what I am, though. Sometimes I think, like, maybe I am the breath, like in the morning you could feel like there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden you breathe, and then boom, you're animating this body again. So I'm like, well, am I the breath? Maybe, but I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know what I am. I have to be honest. I really just don't
Hmm.
know what I am.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for being so honest. But would you like to know? Are you interested in knowing?
Yes, are you going to tell me?
So I can again say something poetic, but who am I to tell you who you are?
Well, what if I asked you, who are you? What would you say?
I would say that I am nothing. I'm nobody. I cannot be defined into words or language. I cannot be perceived or touched. I am beyond comprehension. What you see is not me. My true nature is just here. And I know it, and that's enough. and yeah, and that's it. I don't know. I cannot put it into words, and I'm okay with that. Words fail me every day.
Okay, I can accept that.
But thank you for asking.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else has any comments or questions?
Yeah.
Sure.
I guess just to add to that, I feel like that's what reading these like different books and practices, because at some point we like believed those, and then it becomes the new identity. I feel like every time, like reading on this one, and it said, "You're not who you think you are." Then we start to believe, oh, okay, so maybe that is true. Maybe I'm not who I think I am. So I feel like it's just it keeps creating more, I don't know, in a sense, like different identity. When trying to find the truth, we just go through cycles of trying to like grasp some new knowledge and think maybe this will define me, maybe this will define me. So I feel like we're just gonna be in cycles of trying to know who we are in the process.
Yeah, I understand. I hear you. But then what I do is every time there's a definition, I know that is not me because I know I'm undefinable. I know it sounds ridiculous, but every time there is a belief system or another technique of Vedanta is whenever there is a beginning or an end to whatever idea comes in, maybe I'm this. If that idea, and if it's okay, I can use Angelica's definition of, or trying to understand, maybe I'm breath. So there is, is it okay if I use that as an example? Okay. So yeah, makes sense. It's happening all the time. Yeah. But then when did it begin? There was a point of time. And at that time I was there. Yeah. I noticed it. So I was noticing the breath. How can I be breath when I am looking at it, when I'm noticing it? So that's just a technique of checking. And okay, it's objectively in front of me, not that, obviously not me. So I can put it aside, move to more experiences. And then life and death they become itself ideas that are coming into objective awareness. And so they do not make sense anymore. Forget breath, entire life, the whole memory can be an object of awareness. And how that can be me if I can see it. And I am something else who's noticing it. So just these are like contemplative meditations, but then no belief, no experience, or no idea or memory can be you, because they are coming into the awareness, they are coming into you and going away. But the one who's noticing is always there. If you close your eyes and go back to some memory from like childhood, that noticer, that witness was there. Even when you're older right now, the witness is here. So it's beyond time. It's just here, always. And that's a trippy way of describing and trying to point towards that. And again, like the teacher was saying here, you can know it from your experience. That is it. You can listen to this book. You can listen to me. You can try and experiment and reject if it's not making sense. If it does not agree with your experience, you can put it aside. Only accept it if it is agreeing. Only if it's becomes sort of your experience. But doubt and challenge everything that you see. That's what I would say for even what things I'm saying. Just you can say, oh, that sounds like a bullshit. It's okay. You can throw it out. The book sounds like weird. If you don't accept it, you can throw it out. But when you have your experience, you will, once you know, you can never unknow it. It's, I don't know, if there's another metaphor. If you hear about a mango, like I grew up in India, so I ate a lot of mango, but I know of one of the international students I met, like they never ate a mango. So they were always had an idea of mango. This is what a mango is. This is what a mango is. But then the moment they ate it, oh, I thought it's going to taste like, I don't know, a guava. I thought it's going to smell like a cherry. Whatever ideas were there completely got destroyed, because now they have a real experience of a mango. No idea that were held for years and years can come back anymore, because now they know it. Anyways, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I was gonna share.
Hmm.
I guess I'm kind of struggling with this a little bit because I'm thinking, what are we then? And I was thinking about Rumi, because Rumi is a Sufi and they question who am I quite often. And it's interesting because here there's a conversation around God, and I think Rumi, the Persian poet, talks about, for him it's love, and the love for humanity is the love for God, and who am I is like taking the ego out. It's the I that goes for him. So when we talk about some of his poetry, which is using mindfulness, a lot of it is it's not the I, it's not me. You just have to get rid of that, and that's how he finds self the transcendence. I can never pronounce the word. I think yeah. So I'm just thinking, because do you say this is which text is this? Is this a Buddhist text or a Hindu text?
Yes. So this is, so if you ask the person who wrote it, they will say this is from nothing, nowhere.
Yeah, okay.
They will not identify as Hindu or whatever.
Right, because they're labels.
Yeah, these are labels for them. This is just a recorded interaction between a questioner and a teacher, like a student teacher. But this would be classified more as Vedanta, which is coming from Hinduism. But again, these are again labels. But I'm telling you because of the importance of how I don't know. I know Rumi. I love him. Of course, I've read so many of his poems. I have his book. So I think when he's saying, in my experience, when he's saying letting go of the ego, that is more closer to what Buddhism says, because Buddhism has that theory of, okay, there's no permanent self. Everything is changing, including the sense of self that you see. So yes, from that point of view, you keep letting go of it. Whenever the self arises or ego arises, you let go of it. You let go of it. So that is, yes, true. That will lead to the same conclusion, but the language is different here. Here, what I am is a permanent self. So after you let go of the ego, the small self or the personally held ideas of self, which is similar to Hinduism, similar to what Rumi says, once that is gone, then you know who you are, kind of. It's the bigger self. So that's a small difference in Vedanta philosophy. And they you can call it the real self. It has a label for sure, but again, it's not meant for labeling. It's used to just describe to the students of Vedanta. Is that clear?
I think so. It's quite intricate, isn't it? Because it's like a concept within a concept, and it's a little bit like you get a bit lost in what that means. I think maybe I'm just wondering, like, maybe it's just the essence of who we are. Like, maybe it's not a word or a concept, it's just a feeling. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's what we are. Like, everyone has their own, energy, but maybe it's a feeling or something. Because I think Rumi associates with love quite a lot. Humanity and God, there's a lot about love in there. And I just think maybe it is something that's very unique to us. That is not, you can't measure it, and you can't put a label on it, but it's like, I know I'm called Sadia, but that I'm different from you and I'm different from someone else because there's something innately within me that I can't maybe express. Maybe the soul is maybe Sadia and it's a very different soul to your soul and to someone else's soul. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. So I agree to most of the things, but then of course, everyone has a different personality. Everyone has a different sense of who they are. Yes. But from Vedanta philosophy, and I speak from my own experience, if I close my eyes and look behind me, what I see is this absolute emptiness. There's nothing there. It's always there. Mahip arises in it. Everything, the world arises in it and goes back. But that absolute emptiness is always just there. It's like infinite. It has no beginning. It has no end. It's just always there. And that is the real self in my experience. And that, the self in me, that is the same as the self in you. That is the big witness self from Vedanta philosophy, and based on what I understand or what I have experienced, or the one who is beyond all experiences. But that is the same, and many people who have narrated this will say similar things of the absolute emptiness. And again, that emptiness idea, it's, if you see it as a concept, then it will just remain an idea. But if it comes in experience, then no ideas can remain anymore. Is that confusing or is that helpful?
I think working in progress, whatever that means. I think that's what I'm probably trying to, like, I can't, like you said, the mind is very logical. It wants to have an answer. It's trying to make sense of something that is very complex. So I think I'll just sit with what you're saying and just,
Sure.
I might maybe one day experience it. I don't know. Just sit with it.
Yes. And then again, it's, I will say it's already here. We learn, like this paragraph pointed out, we learn things from our parents, from teachers. They tell us that this is who you are, this is the world. So we learn this information, and that is what clouds who we are. Like a small baby is going just chilling and having fun. The small baby is mostly like experiencing that emptiness constantly. But then the mind gets filled, and then the baby forgets who they were. Anyone else has any questions or comments coming up?
I do have a question, Heath.
Sure.
If nobody else was about to say anything, sorry. What I was going to ask is, in the Hermetic teachings, they say all is mind. all is mind. How do you square the mind against the self? Is the mind just another creation, or is the mind all there is?
So again, I don't know where that statement is coming from. How, and then again, there can be a language confusion, like how I see mind and how they might have seen it. I can describe how I see it, if that helps. So I see mind is as a tool, as a very, very complex machinery that arises and that is useful, and through which we see the world. But the self, or the emptiness, or the vastness, which I'm trying to describe or point towards, which is our true nature, in my experience, for not just me, and that is behind every living being. That is in essence, the true nature for every living thing, everything, not even living, but non-living as well. That is outside of the mind. Mind is like, so I think metaphorically I can describe more clearly. Pure light, just take pure light. We cannot see light in its essence. We only see light when it's getting reflected from a surface area. So if there is light here, when it is hitting different, like the wall, the tapestry, they come out as different colors. So they are needed for the light, the pure light, to manifest itself. So these are some surfaces or objects that are that reflect light in different forms. But pure light is not as in we don't see it. If there's no object, just go to an empty space outside of the planet Earth where there is no object. We don't see light. It's there. What we see is just darkness. But light is there, it's traveling. But because there's no surface that will reflect it, we don't see it. But it's there. And mind is like that prism through which light goes through, and then the colors appear, like the rainbow colors appear. So mind is sort of that instrument through which the pure nature is going through, and then the world arises.
That's interesting, because just an analogy, I guess, that I'm taking from what you're saying then is like, there is a true self, a self that cannot be described. However, we need these creations and this mind in order to see it. Like you said, there's the light, but you need something to reflect off of it. So then we need these creations, these bodies, these things in order to see that self, to experience that self. So maybe none of it is to be rejected, but just to understand that that's not the true self. You're seeing, you can only experience it though because of all these creations and all these things. Very interesting. I like that.
Yes. Yeah. And thank you so much for adding that. And that is how, even when you are seeing outside things, you see these are all manifestations of divinity. So let's replace right as being just divine. So everything is divine, because everything is a manifestation of that, including me, this body, this laptop, all these people. So, and that's why the compassion becomes so natural. Because how can you hate anyone now? Because you see divine or you see God in everything.
That's very powerful. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for adding that. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so I'm quickly gonna read the rest, and then I do have a I do want to do a small practice at the end, but let's see. What the mind invents, the mind destroys, but the real is not invented and cannot be destroyed. So I'm glad we had that discussion. Now this will maybe make more sense. Hold on to that over which the mind has no power. What I am telling you about is neither in the past nor in the future, nor is it in the daily life as it flows in the now. It is timeless, and the total timelessness of it is beyond the mind. My Guru and his words, "You are myself," are timelessly with me. In the beginning, I had to fix my mind onto them, but now it has become natural and easy. The point when the mind accepts the words of the Guru as true and lives by them spontaneously and in every detail of daily life is the threshold of realization. In a way, it is salvation by faith, but the faith must be intense and lasting. However, you must not think that faith itself is enough. Faith expressed in action is a sure means to realization. Of all the means, it is the most effective. There are teachers who deny faith and trust reason only. Actually, it is not faith they deny, but blind beliefs. Faith is not blind, it is the willingness to try. Questioner: we were told that that of all forms of spiritual practices, the practice of the attitude of a mere witness is the most efficacious. How does it compare with faith? The witness attitude is also faith. It is faith in oneself. You believe that you are not what you experience, and you look at everything as from a distance. There is no effort in witnessing. You understand that you are the witness only, and the understanding acts. You need nothing more. Just remember that you are the witness only. If in the state of witnessing you ask yourself, "Who am I?" the answer comes at once. Though it is wordless and silent, cease to be the object and become the subject of all that happens. Once having turned within, you will find yourself beyond the subject. When you have found yourself, you will find that you are also beyond the object, that both the subject and the object exist in you, but you are neither. You speak of the mind, of witnessing consciousness beyond the mind, and of supreme, which is beyond awareness. Do you mean to say that even awareness is not real? As long as you deal in terms real, unreal, awareness is the only reality that can be. But the supreme is beyond all distinctions, and to it the term real does not apply. For in it all is real, and therefore need not be labeled as such. It is the very source of reality. It imparts reality to whatever it touches. It just cannot be understood through words. Even a direct experience, however sublime, merely bears testimony, nothing more. Okay. How is everyone feeling?
Very good for me.
Okay. So we have 10 more minutes. I would like to do a small practice and read a poem during that practice. But before we get into that, any questions? Okay. So, like I said, this is more contemplative practice. Take a position that's most comfortable for you. And again, if it helps to close your eyes, do so. Make sure your back is straight. Then take all your attention, all your focus, and place it on your breathing. Take a long breath in, hold for a second, and breathe out. Let the breathing go back to its regular pace. No need to hold, no need to change anything. Just be. Be fully open to what arises in your experience. Whether it is a thought, a sound, a sensation, a memory, whatever it might be with it fully. See that every experience comes in at a point and moves gradually out of your awareness. Just like clouds come into the sky, stay for a while, sometimes for days, but always without exception, change, or dissolve. The sky is always there like a silent witness, never changes, never interferes, never judges. The clouds, just there, noticing, witnessing all the changes happening without changing itself. The clouds are time bound. They are in a process of moving, changing. The sky, on the other hand, is outside of time, outside any process, outside any change. Infinite, without any beginning and without any end. Absolutely empty space. You keep going into it deeper and deeper. You don't find an end. never ending, always expanding. The mind can see the clouds, the mind can comprehend the clouds, because mind and emotions are like the clouds. But that in you, which knows that sky, the infinite, is your true nature. Now I'm going to read a poem that came to me when I heard this phrase: form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. What am I? I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am that. I have no beginning, no end, no path, no trend, no right, no wrong, no lyric, no song, no identity, no shape, no wind, no wave. I am what I am in the midst of forms. In this world of rules, I follow no norms. I appear when I am needed. Beyond consciousness, I am seated. You will find me if the time is right. You will eat me if your fruits are ripe. I have no flavor. I have no touch. Only the one who seeks can have as much. Questions are many. The answer is one. In the midst of darkness, I am the sun. Thank you for practicing this contemplative exercise, and thank you for listening to the poetry. You can open your eyes and come back to the room. Okay. Any last questions or comments before I let you all go?
I think for me, I feel a little bit like a bit confused because I was thinking about, like, you talked about divine there, and I know in the text it didn't refer to God, and I know in a previous session, thinking about our body being something physical and fleshy, and actually are we energy? So we've said certain things previously, and then we've read the text, and that's kind of contradicted some of those things. I feel a bit like, I feel like, so am I energy, or is there because I believe everything you just said sounds very, very like God. A lot of the things that you've said, the words are used in like kind of religious texts in Islam. So, sublime and never ending and dying. So yeah, that was just interesting. And I don't think I've got an answer, or maybe I won't have an answer. Maybe I'll just sit with what you're saying, because I am a little bit like perplexed by some of the stuff that I've read and thought about.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing. I love that your genuine confusion, and I love that you share it with us. And I totally agree. There are contradictions in about things that are coming out of my mouth. There are contradictions for sure. But then I will say just one statement, the truth is, there's always two sides of the truth. So it's so hard to say one, but then if I'm not seeing the other, it's not the complete truth. So contradictions will happen, and do not mean for them to happen. But then, yeah, what I would also say is the truer thing, and I'll quote Rumi again, and I think I've used this quote. Speech is a river. No, silence is the ocean. Speech is a river. When the ocean is looking for you, don't walk into the river. Listen to the ocean. So my words, of course, I can't help it. Everyone's words are going to be contradictory at times because that's speech. We are limited. What we are seeking is the unlimited. So how can I put that into this limited frame of words? So I can't help it. Oh, you're mute.
Sorry, no, that's fine. I wasn't saying that you did anything wrong. I was just maybe that's part of the learning that previously we weren't energy, and then we were energy. That's what I took, and then I read. Then it says we're not energy, and I'm going. I don't know what are we. So I think maybe that's done for us to think contemplatively about what we think is right for us. Maybe.
Yes.
On our own journey.
Sure. I will. But to answer that question, I'll share my own experience. 3-4 years ago, I got stuck on the idea of I'm energy. And I was going through a really difficult mental turbulence. And I was like, oh my God, a lot of things were happening in life. But I knew, okay, if I'm energy, how can I be created? How can I be destroyed? It makes no sense. Like I'm told that I was born on this date and I'll die after whatever years. But if I'm energy, how can there be life and death? So I got that contemplation right. And I was like, oh no, it was breaking down my whole system of ideas. So I got identified so fully with the energy. Yes. But then that's when I met one of my teachers, Jim in Oakland, and I shared this and I was crying and stuff. And then he said to me, you are not the energy. You are the one who witnesses it all. So, and then like, what? It's like, what the fuck are you saying? I was like, it just didn't make sense. Like, whatever, man. But then it hit me in a few minutes, like, oh my God. And my mind got completely silent. I'm like, wow, what is this? Anyways, so it's somehow made sense to something which makes no sense. So yeah, but energy is another process. Energy is changing too. What we are pointing towards is changeless. So there was another evolution that took place in my journey. I always thought, okay, I'm this guy, flesh, and blah, 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 these ideas. I'm this human. And then I got, oh, no, I'm energy. And I stayed there and I suffered for a while. Then I like, oh, I'm not the energy too. So it was my process to answer your question. Is that helpful?
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your journey. I do wonder sometimes why we're created so differently from animals. Our brains, they don't have a conscious, am I right in thinking that they don't have that conscious part that we do, where we question things and we can be imaginative? And so sometimes I do think like we can have this consciousness thought in our head and the inner dialogue. I don't think animals have that, right? They don't have that stuff going on. And there's a reason for it, because as humans, we've got a higher intellect. So, maybe that witness thing that you're saying, yeah, I even question that is a mental faculty because it uses part of the brain, right? So, yeah, it's all good to think about, but not to cry. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm just going to just let it be.
Oh, God. Yes. Thank you so much for asking. And I love your inner process. so like insightful and entertaining. Anyone else has any questions or comments before I let you go?
I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a very enlightening morning. Great way to start the day. Thank you to everybody.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Yeah, it's her last. I'm a little sad, but yeah, I'm also happy that we'll get to meet one more time. Okay. Have a really nice weekend and take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.